Right. All right. We are back. We
All
are.
right.
Yes, we
All right.
are.
All right. All right. Well, now we're back in the
Yeah.
office. Last week I was at home. I forget why, but I was. Welcome to another edition of Live Feed Reed. I'm Paul Reed, your host. This is the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford. Look how spiffy he looks in a suite up in I don't know where are you at?
I'm in
Tallahassee
Orlando.
in
Yeah, no, Orlando.
Orlando
Yep.
for his homeschooling, whatever it is he's doing. I believe he has now been passed the torch
Yeah.
from the 40-year-old plus veteran that was doing it, and they passed it
Yes.
to Jason. So kudos to
Yep.
him.
Thank you.
What is this? Live strong and prosper. Woo!
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
Jason, I don't know. Jason sends me a bunch of crap. He's on the computer way too much. But this one here,
Yeah.
I did happen to click on. Don't ask me why, but I did. And I hadn't heard about this issue that was going on in Florida, I'm sorry, in Georgia, where Mrs. Smith, a 30-year-old woman who is legally and really reality, not just oh she might this, might that, is brain dead. She's not
Mm.
coming back. I mean, God rest her soul. It's not one of those where the parents think she may or may not be alive. You know, like I hate to cite Terry Schreiber, where there might have been at least some
Yeah.
her eyes are open. This woman, unfortunately, has passed away due to a medical emergency at the age of 30. Well, at the
Wow.
time, this was February, and again, I hadn't heard about this, and until I saw Jason's thing at the time
Yeah.
in February of this year, she was 9 weeks pregnant.
Mm. 9. Oof.
Well, the hospital she was in, she was on life support, and they basically, and I talk regular, they refused to pull the plug and basically let her pass quietly because of the pregnancy and Georgia's law that basically once you have, heart viability monitoring of the 6 weeks,
Yeah.
their position was that could be perceived as an abortion by letting her
Yeah.
pass,
Okay.
and therefore they could be criminally liable.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Normally, we I don't comment on things. Jason doesn't comment on things,
So
and
rare of a
so forth.
situation, though.
But that's just bull spit with a T,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
S. Okay.
What
No.
a.
No, 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 Jason. That's ridiculous. If that had been my daughter, no, no, wouldn't have happened. Not gonna happen, you know. But either way, it did.
Yeah.
It went on literally until this week, where
Wow.
the parents were, poor people had to deal with their daughter being in this situation. And I only read a few articles, but the parents are like, well, we're not saying what we would do one way or the other if we were allowed to pull the plug. Their position was we should be allowed to decide. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
pretty, you know, forgiving parents, I guess to say. From the
Yeah.
doctor's perspective,
For.
um,
Yeah.
I can't blame them. I mean, if I'm the doctor of the hospital, I'm not going to be some conservative state attorney's test case in Georgia,
Yeah.
as
Yeah. I wouldn't want to
as
be
to
involved in
being
this.
prosecuted or not for performing an illegal abortion. I'm not
Yeah.
giving up my medical practice, my medical license, my livelihood, detriment to my family, kids, and so
Sure.
forth for poor
Sure.
Mrs. Smith. So, I see their perspective. Hey, I'm sorry. Forget my personal, this is the doctor, forget my personal views of my hospitals. The law says what it says, and we're not going to risk, criminal prosecution.
Yeah.
So I can see their perspective. So you got the poor mom, you got the poor 30-year-old woman that's brain dead, you got the hospital, and what's more important, and again, I'm not speculating, I'm not making up things. I don't know, and I don't think anybody knows. Will the baby come out quote unquote normal, or will it have significant defects?
Yeah. No one knows.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Okay, but those are certainly, issues to be dealt with. Um,
What a rare case though. Like what a.
yeah, yep, 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 yep.
This is that like one in a trillion million moments. or even.
Well, Jason, you would think so. But if you're out there in TV world, you can Google cases where, and obviously it's women, have had to endure some pretty significant incidents because of even the Florida 6 weeks abortion law and others. I did some research. I don't want to get into it. I'm
Mhm.
not pro-abortion, anti-abortion. I'm not saying abortion's good. I'm not saying where
Yeah,
Jason
we're
and
not
I are
coming down
not
on that.
taking a position. It's
Yep.
just the law, whether you like it or not, has created issues for women. It's just that
Yep.
simple. It has created issues where women, whether right, wrong, or otherwise, have actually been
Hmm.
arrested and prosecuted for issues relating to the termination of a pregnancy. Now, again, I don't know the cases. I only know what you read online, little snippets. But if you want to investigate, read more, learn more, you certainly have a computer because you're watching me or a phone and you're able to do so.
Right.
But let me just so that's kind of a sad case, and
Mhm.
interestingly enough, the governor and the state attorney or the attorney general for the state of Georgia for the longest time were silent on the issue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
figure.
Well.
They don't want to
Yeah.
have to make a decision that more likely than not is going to anger. They think is going to anger one side or the other, right?
Hmm.
I
Right.
disagree. In my opinion, this is not a pro-life or pro-abortion issue. In my opinion, this is,
Sure.
my God, man, have some common damn sense. Let the family decide what to do in this situation.
Yeah. I
I don't
think.
think the pro-lifers, you got kooks everywhere.
How
I
does
don't
this
think the
even end up?
pro-lifers are going to picket the governor's mansion because he says, look, this poor lady, this 30-year-old, she should rest in peace and her family should decide how to go.
How does this something like this even end up as a story?
Oh, please.
This is.
Because our world's just effed up.
Hmm.
you
I mean,
know.
like, with all of the privacy concerns around HIPAA and everything like that, how,
Well, now, right, but you don't know if the parents went to the
yeah,
to the media or posted
yeah,
something on social media. That doesn't. I would doubt that the hospital's out there, throwing this woman's
yeah.
life on network TV and so forth and so.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, if I were in it, I would just want to be left alone. It's hard enough just to make a decision about something like
Oh,
this,
it's
much
brutal,
less
brutal.
to have
Well,
your
here's
decision
well,
be captured by, political argument and debate and then spun in the media some kind of way. And it's like half the time when you read a headline, you don't even know what the real story is anyway.
Well,
Like,
that's what I'm saying. Well, we do know that it's a 30-year-old woman being kept alive until
right.
they can
Well,
deliver the
yeah,
baby who's brain
that we
dead.
know.
I mean,
Yeah,
those are facts.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Now,
yeah.
now, given that the attorney general came out and said, let's see, I kind of wrote down what he said. Um, Basically, it says it's, I guess Georgia's called the Life Act. And the Attorney General, his name's Chris Carr, came out and finally said that the Life Act does not require a woman to be kept on life support after she's brain dead, and that removing life support is not an act with the purpose of terminating a pregnancy. So they finally came
Yeah,
out, and dude, that was only May 21st, 2 days ago, that said no,
yeah,
terminating this, taking this woman off life support
right.
is not an
An
abortion.
abortion,
And
right.
so, having said that, I think now that
Yeah,
it may very well be the family's choice as what to do.
sure.
Now,
Yeah, I
okay,
mean,
so that
because
having been
because
said, I
there's
don't
so
want to
much
beat a
more that
dead
plays into
horse.
that. Who pays for all of that? There's so much more than just that part of the question. That's an important question to answer, but there's so many things that it's a trickle effect. It
Well,
touches a lot of stuff.
here's the deal. Here's unfortunately, boy, women got to deal with a lot of things, but here's one that everyone, first male and female, should have, and then especially females, if you're, of the age where you may get pregnant, or you plan on getting pregnant, or you are pregnant. There's a Florida law is such that if you have an advance directive, Okay, everyone's heard of the
Hmm.
living will. The living will is one thing. Living will is I don't want to be kept alive on a machine, and you have a document that you can go online and find.
Okay.
It's actually
Right.
in the statute, so you can find it. You can find the one that says Florida statute, 765 and so forth, and you just fill it out.
Hmm.
Okay. On mine, believe it or not, this was back in the Terry Shriver days. You people might not admit it, but just a woman that was alive, and the parents wanted to keep her
Right.
alive. Thought she wasn't dead or otherwise, and the husband did, and so forth. And it went on forever. Went to the Supreme
Yeah.
Court, went to this, went to that. Well, that's when I basically said, okay, I need one of these living wills, right? I kid you
Mm.
not, Jason. You fill it out, it's computer, but I hand wrote on mine, pull the damn plug. So there will be no question about what Paul Reed wants if my family, friends, the law, or otherwise finds themselves and myself in that situation.
Of course, that's what you wrote on yours.
So I'm not saying you need to write that, but I don't know that there's going to be any miscommunication, misinterpretation
Yeah.
of what my desires are.
Okay,
Now,
so I've seen that. Sorry.
no, the advanced directive is in effect, you don't really have to be in the pull the plug level. There could be other issues that would necessitate an advanced directive. On that, you is where the woman would want to be if I'm and I'm telling you what, if I'm pregnant, um, basically keep me on life support until my baby is born. You can write that, or you can put in there, I do not want to be kept alive,
Mm,
if it's within the first 12 weeks.
mm,
If it's in the first 24 weeks, you could say, if I'm in the last trimester, keep me alive and so forth. And so I highly recommend everyone get the living will and it's an advanced directive, because what
mm,
it does, you can appoint someone to be your healthcare surrogate, somebody to
mm,
know what your wishes are, to have the documentation to present to the court if needed, or the hospital, what your wishes are, and
mm.
then honestly to be able to carry out those wishes.
Does that
So
supersede?
hey, I picked a ball buster friend of mine, Brian Staley, because you know what?
Oh
Brian
yeah.
will pull the damn plug. And he's
I
a
could.
loyal follower of live
Yeah, he
TV.
is.
And if he's
Yes,
watching
he
this,
is.
he's probably laughing. If not, he'll
Yeah,
watch it later.
yeah.
But I can count on Brian to pull the plug.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
In
funny.
fact, he probably wants to pull the plug when I'm sitting here healthy in the chair sometimes. But either way, you definitely want to get your living will, your advanced
Yeah,
directives, because you don't want to find yourself being in a situation where one family member is doing something that you may or may not want, and
yeah,
another family member is doing something you may or may not want, and you're left sitting there on the bed waiting for a judge or whomever to decide what to do with you.
yeah. In the state of Florida, does a person's advance directive or explicit statement of their wishes that can be seen and shown like that, does it supersede what arguments like what's happening right now in Georgia, where they're arguing probably over, or back in behind the scenes arguing over how do we interpret this? What do the laws on life and healthcare and abortion say versus the laws on who can make those decisions? As those might conflict in Florida, where would your advanced directive kind of fall if
Well,
something, I mean, this is such a rare case, but like,
it is, but the best I could tell and did some research, the Florida law is, the living will, the advanced directive, the healthcare surrogates. Those are the people that, unlike in Miss case, they would decide what to
okay,
do. So
okay,
again, best I could tell, if someone, a woman, of course, were to be pregnant, and the advanced directive, the healthcare surrogate, the family, and the living will and the woman's advanced directives said no, just let me pass, then
yeah,
it's the best I could tell. Florida law would not make pulling the plug, so to speak, illegal or an illegal abortion.
Got you. And this is something that Reed and Reed, y'all don't really do those, do you? Right?
No, well, the
Yeah.
advanced directives, you just find those, like I said, Florida statutes, you go to, 765 and
Okay.
or just type in, Florida statute on direct, it'll pull up the form. You don't
Yeah.
need a lawyer. Don't pay a
Oh,
lawyer.
yeah.
You need
I
it,
was only
you
saying
might
that
need it
because,
notarized or otherwise.
yeah, I was only saying that just so that everybody listening might know this isn't something you're trying to sell
No.
something. This is, yeah, we're just talking about this as a subject matter,
Mhm.
not trying to like push a particular product or
Oh
something
no,
to that
I
effect.
agree, and
Yeah.
that's fair. It's just, dude, I hadn't again. I don't anymore. If you guys are still watching the TV, the news, and all this stuff, it just angers you, frustrates
It's a
you. That's
joke.
why God bless Jason. He watches it, he sends
I
it
do.
to me, and I delete it without looking at it because I've chosen to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not on Facebook. My my
Yeah. Yeah.
my I do Snapchat. I have about 10 people, my family and very close
Yep.
friends that I basically send pictures of the dogs fighting or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that if you see sometimes I'll put public the hawks up in the trees and the other day I saw
Yeah.
one
Cool.
of the hawks. I had the sprinklers on and he's literally taking a shower in the driveway, which was pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. I
That's
noticed
what
that
you
you
get
didn't.
from me, and it's limited to just
Yeah.
kind of things of that nature.
I
Uh,
noticed that you didn't say that you send your golf scores to anybody. How's your golf game looking?
there's not enough numbers on the phone to send my golf scores to people. I do have an Instagram account, but again, I don't really follow people. I just put
Yeah.
it on
Yeah.
there for friends and family to see if I went to New York and
Hmm.
Leanne pushed me down the stairs and I injured myself. She takes a picture. I put it on the internet.
You know what's
I put it
funny?
on my Instagram.
What you're talking about was
And
the
yes,
early
Leanne
day.
pushes me down in the snow. She pushes me down the stairs. She pushes
Let
me
it be
over
on record.
bushes. Yeah, don't ask me why, but she does. And I will say about 99.9% they're alcohol related incidents.
You had it coming then.
Well, she thinks that. That doesn't necessarily mean I do. Ugh. So if you
Oh,
want to
what's
check out
funny
some of
is
those, go ahead.
what you're talking about is that's the way early Facebook and Instagram and all that was used. It didn't turn into this big corporatized, big messaging, everybody posts everything to the public thing till later. And I've actually seen articles where Mark Zuckerberg has been stating that like that where they are now is kind of far from where they meant to be in a way. So I don't
Oh
know that
no,
he would
I hear
say
you.
that.
Well,
But
that's
yeah.
fodder for another day. So we've gone
Yeah.
on 20 minutes. If you
Yeah.
want to
Okay,
know a
cool.
little bit about the Mr. Smith case, you basically know it now. That's really what's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will, let's call it publish what happens now, given that on May
Hmm.
21st, the Attorney General came out and said basically whatever the family decides, a hospital, this is not would not be considered an abortion, therefore no one can be charged,
Yeah.
so forth.
Well, it's an interesting
Hopefully,
case.
it will be a private matter, and we'll never hear about Mrs. Smith again. That would be the family, her, and that would be nice for them. But otherwise, that's all I got for you. Now it is
Yeah, cool.
Memorial Day is Monday. On our sign out front, people, we have billboards, TV, and all this, but this sign out been there about 50 years because this is the oldest law firm in the Brandon area. Lee Elam had it first. He wanted to keep it in the family, so he sold the building to us, and we've kept the sign up, and it gets more views and reviews, and people look at it and comments than anything we've put on live feed read on TV, on anything. But on the it says we got Memorial Day, and we put all gave some and some gave all. So God
Mm,
bless to those veterans that gave some, and God bless those that gave
mm.
all. And so a little prayer for those guys and gals. And remember that on Monday, have a hot dog, have a
Yeah.
hamburger, have a beer, and say
Yep.
thank you, veterans. That's
Yeah,
all I got
absolutely.
for you. I want to say
Well, I feel bad.
thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to be here in my shirt and Jason to be in his tidy black, woo, yeah, looking good, pimp outfit. And,
Yeah.
and
I
we'll
would.
see
I want to say
you.
one thing, but I feel
Hold
bad.
on, we'll see you in church on
Oh,
Sunday. And like I said, there's 180 something hours in a week. You can go say thank you, Jesus, 1 hour to the religious entity of your choice, or just say it in your bedroom before you go to bed. What were you gonna
mm.
say?
I was gonna say I feel bad following your Memorial Day thing, but I wanted to. Our bill passed. The bill that we were running in session. Governor DeSantis signed it into law, so it'll be law July 1st, 2025.
Good.
And it clarifies that home education students can play at any school in the district, not just their zone school. So
Oh,
it's
that's
really cool.
good.
It already said that, but this bill just kind of spelled it out in black and white, so we don't have to fight
So
over it
let me just
anymore.
be clear. If
Mm-hmm.
Paul Reed is and was, by the way, the stud baseball player of
Yeah,
Brandon
you were.
High School, but Hillsborough County,
Mm-hmm.
and for whatever reason I wanted to play somewhere else, I could just withdraw from Brandon, go to homeschool, and could have played at any of the other schools.
If you want to homeschool, you could do that,
But you
but
could then see,
homeschooling's
Jason,
hard.
how that could be a problem where some school could say, hey, you guys withdraw, you come play at King, Hillsborough, Robinson,
Mm,
Latho, Jefferson, Brandon. Ooh,
yeah,
I can see that happening.
you could, but there are
So
other
Jason has
rules.
created the
No, I
new,
didn't create it.
what is it called? Name, imaging, and likeness for kids wanting to play wherever they want by just withdrawing
No,
homeschool, and
no,
now
there's other rules.
you're going to have a
There,
super school that's going to win the state
no, you
championship.
can't do
Thank
any of
you,
that.
Jason
That's
Crawford.
not possible. You can't do any of that. There's so many other rules that stop that from happening. But what we were running up against was the superintendents were denying. It spelled out that parents could pick the school, and the
No,
superintendents were
I
giving
get
the
it.
parents the runaround till the parents gave up. And the parents were like, we don't even know how to have these conversations. So what we did was get it spelled out very clearly
Well, I
what their
understand. Well,
choices were.
understand this,
But
just so you'll know. There,
yeah.
people move into certain areas of Hillsborough County
Mm-hmm.
to play at a particular school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
simple. Now, I haven't kept up with Brandon wrestling, but I will tell you this,
Mm-hmm.
people, for about some odd
Yeah.
30 years, they were undefeated. And
Mm-hmm.
so kids would want to live in Brandon's boundaries to go to Brandon High because that wrestling team just
Mm-hmm.
kicked butt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but if you try out and you don't make it, you're not eligible to play anywhere else. So you're kind of taking
I got
a
it. No, I
you're
understand.
kind of taking a bet.
Same note.
There are a lot of rules and restrictions that keep that from happening as a super PAC something, But
TV world, internet world, Jason, silly, silly, silly. Because understand this: if you're going to move into a district, you're not trying out. You're moving because you're a stud. That
mm,
coach wants you on the team, so there's no tryout. There's homeschool. You're the shortstop for
yeah,
name your school. But
mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It's not going to happen because there's a lot of other reasons to go to high school
Hey,
for
this
the
has been the way
fun,
that it's
for the
been.
camaraderie, for the girls, things like
Hmm.
that, or for the
Well,
girls and boys,
it's
whatever.
been this way for 30 years since 1996. That was the way that it was. We only recently started running into this issue where they were forcing parents only to play at their zone school. And in
Yeah.
the last 30 years, they've never packed a school or done what you're saying. So it's like a lot of people want to throw some ideas out there. There's just so many other rules that gatekeep a lot of those things it's not a problem. It's an
All right,
imaginary
Jason,
one,
that's all we
not a
got.
real one.
I think
Oh,
this is
man. All right. All
not
right.
also just I'm going on record here at 125
Yeah.
on 5/23
2025.
25. If you think it's just going to be that easy, some kid says I'm playing here and they say okay, then I got some property south of Key West I want to sell you.
All right. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, congratulations on your
Thank
the
you.
czar of homeschooling for the state of Florida. You've earned it. And keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate
Take
it.
us
We will.
out.
I'll take us out.
Take us out.
Reed and Reed, it's like having a lawyer in the family.